So how does a company that's known for basically one thing completely reinvent itself in just over a decade? Well, today we're diving into the incredible story of Erajaya. We're going to look at how it went from being a focused phone distributor into this sprawling lifestyle retail powerhouse. Honestly, it's a masterclass in how to adapt and thrive.
All right, so here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll go from their IPO to the giant they are today. Then we'll see how they totally mastered the mobile market. After that, we'll get into their massive four-pillar pivot. Then we'll look at the playbook they used for all that growth, see if the numbers actually back it up, and finally, we'll look ahead to the next generation of leadership.
Okay, so to really get your head around the sheer scale of Erajaya's transformation, we've got to start with the big picture. Let's look at the timeline of their whole journey, from the moment they went public to the diversified giant they've become.
This timeline really maps it all out. So in 2011, boom, they go public. But by 2017, you can see they're already sensing a change in the air, looking beyond just phones to things like IoT. Then the really big move happens in 2021, a complete overhaul into 4 distinct business lines. And now, as we look to 2025, we're seeing a leadership handover, which really kicks off a brand new era.
So, let's hit rewind for a second. Before all of this massive change, who exactly was Erajaya? Well, they were an absolute dominant force, but in a very, very specific world, the mobile market.
Yeah, after their IPO, their entire universe revolved around this one thing. If you bought a cell phone, a SIM card, or even a top-up voucher in Indonesia, chances are you were touching Erajaya's network somehow. They were the kingpins, the absolute masters of mobile distribution.
And this right here, this quote from their 2016 report, this is the light bulb moment. The leadership had this incredible foresight to realize the people's relationship with tech was changing. It wasn't just about the phone in your pocket anymore, it was about the entire digital lifestyle that was being built around it. This single insight, it was the spark for everything that came next.
Just seeing that a change is coming isn't enough, right? You actually have to do something about it. And that led to the most radical strategic shift in the company's entire history, a direct answer to that changing digital lifestyle they saw on the horizon.
And here was their answer. In 2021, they completely reorganized around 4 new pillars. Now, ERAA Digital. That makes sense, right? It's the natural evolution of what they were already doing. But look at the others. Active lifestyle, beauty and wellness, and even food and nourishment. I mean, wow. This wasn't just a pivot. They were going all in on becoming a full-blown lifestyle company, miles away from their tech roots.
Just look at this comparison side by side. The difference is night and day. Back in 2018, their business was all about phones, tablets, and accessories. Fast forward just 5 years, and suddenly they have a diversified portfolio that covers pretty much every aspect of a modern consumer's life. The scale of this change was massive, and they did it incredibly fast.
Okay, so a brilliant strategy is one thing, but how do you actually pull it off? How do you execute on that vision? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the operational engine Erajaya built to power this unbelievable expansion. It all starts with a huge physical footprint. By the end of 2023, Erajaya was running over 2,000 of its own retail stores across Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore.
And supporting that massive retail network, a super robust logistics backbone made up of 97 distribution centers.
But it doesn't even stop there. Their reach extends even further, supplying a web of about 70,000 third-party resellers. I mean, this combination gives them market penetration that is just unreal.
So you might be wondering, how on earth does a company get the green light for such a bold and, let's be honest, kind of risky diversification? Well, the answer is in their governance structure, specifically the Board of Commissioners. You can think of them as the high-level supervisors who watch over the directors. For any major strategic decision, like creating whole new business divisions from scratch, they need their approval. This setup provided the critical oversight and ultimately the go-ahead needed for this massive pivot.
All right, now for the million-dollar question, or in this case, the trillion-rupee question. Was it all worth it? Did this huge strategic bet on becoming a lifestyle retailer actually pay off?
Well, the numbers tell a pretty powerful story. Let's just look at 2 snapshots in time. Back in 2016, before the big pivot, their income before tax was around 383 billion rupiah, okay? Now look at 2022, after the new strategy was really humming along. A different metric, sure, but their gross profit, that's just the profit from sales, had absolutely exploded to over 5.3 trillion rupiah. Now, it's not a perfect one-to-one comparison, but that massive jump in gross profit shows you just how much the fundamental engine of the business had grown. The momentum was undeniable. So that brings us right up to today and a little peek into the future. After a decade of just radical change, the company is now stepping into a brand new chapter, and it's being marked by a big change at the top.
In early 2025, the founder, Erajaya, who had been steering the ship as president commissioner, officially stepped down. His successor, Alexander Halem Kusuma, is now taking the helm, really representing a new generation of leadership for this totally transformed company.
And this leads us to the biggest question for the company's future. They successfully pulled off one of the most difficult pivots you can imagine, from just phones to a whole lifestyle ecosystem. So the question on everyone's mind now is, with new leadership in place and a completely different business to run, what on earth will Erajaya's next great transformation look like?